Now, the stage is set, but who are the fans backing? Penrith boss wants New South Wales to obviously get behind Penrith. He was outspoken about that today. But I want to know what the reality is. What do we think?
Well, we ran a poll on the Daily Telegraph online today, and this is a New South Wales newspaper. Our fan base, we asked, would you be supporting the Broncos or the Panthers? Will Sydney get behind Panthers? I think it was split at 44-44 with 10% saying we didn't care who won. But it shows you that, I heard Buzz sitting here last night saying that the Panthers aren't polarising. Yes, they are. Jerome Luai is the most polarising player in the game. No one questions that the Panthers aren't a hell of a football side, and they play a beautiful brand of football that's so disciplined and perfect. But there's just been a few little things over the years, a few little things.
Why are they polarising?
Because they're cocky. They're cocky on the edge of being arrogant.
No, it's just
no. It is, Gordy. Their celebrations after the grand
Parramatta
final.
won 3 in a row, right? They would have packed out that stadium. So that 80,000, if Parramatta were playing there in the heyday, we watched it with Jared Hayne. They sold out. This is a side that's going to break a record, and they're saying that it could be the greatest side ever, and yet they can't sell out stadiums. Brisbane sold out 52,000 in about 30 minutes, and we reckon it could have been double that in Queensland. So it's the style of footy you play, and it's how you conduct yourself on and off the field. And that's why they don't sell out stadiums. As good as what they are on the field, I don't think it rubs with people off the field.
I was out there today at the Penrith media opportunity where we had the opportunity to speak to all the players. And look, I've got to say, being in their company, they aren't arrogant. They're very respectful. They have a lot of time for you.
I'll just tweet about you later.
Stephen Crichton, potentially. Stephen Crichton, I asked him, why do you
like a great fellow.
Why do you think you're polarising? And he said simply, because it is the tall poppy syndrome. We are the champions, and everyone wants to pull the winners back down.
Yes.
And I think there's a genuine element of that. The way they have handled themselves in the past, I will say this, Braith, post-grand finals has hurt them.
I think they've got to own that they're polarising and own their behaviour because they actually feed off that. That's what they love it. When they won the comp and they come out with, they tweeted about comments that were made throughout the season. They remember every comment from every journalist and every player.
Fisher Harris, who I think is a gun player, and his story's amazing. He lived in a stable, so I think no one's deserved a career the way he has. But he even said something about Parramatta as well.
He said they were the greatest Penrith team ever.
And then Appy's going to the Tigers, and he even bagged the club he's going to. So at times they haven't been endearing to the fans.
You mentioned the tweet from Luai during Origin this year where he, there was accusations afterwards that he'd received death threats, but the tweet itself just didn't need to do it. Putting out there that, you idiots have to get up and go to work tomorrow.
They know that. So when the boss does it, and I saw Ivan Cleary, he did an interview at some stage, and then he's even said...
Well, let's have a look at it, Gordon. This is what Ivan had to say.
Ivan, you're the only Sydney club left in the finals. You hoping Sydney gets around and celebrates Penrith?
Absolutely. What else would they be doing this weekend? Yeah, everyone loves the Panthers, don't they?
Do you feel like that?
See, this is my point. They know it, and they own it, and they play better because of it. So why even deny it? Just run with it, because that's what makes them the great team that they are.
Yeah, so I was booed here as a Queenslander. I was going to get booed as a Bronco. It's simple as that. You just got to own it.
Yeah. All right. Jerome Luai says the hometown connection is what drives Penrith's success, with the star half also assuring fans there's no lingering issues with his shoulder injury.
We've played a lot of footy together, grown up together. This is most of our homes. We haven't played for another NRL club before, so I guess the connection we have is a bit different in that sense. And we just love each other's company, man. We're actually brothers out there, and I think when times get tough, we've got a lot to play for. I was always pretty confident that, my mind and spirit was going to get me there. Obviously had a massive session 2 days before, so left it all on the line. I was a bit nervous before that session, but like I said, it pulled through okay, and I know I could get the job done. I was just out there tackling the biggest boys in New South Wales Cup, so got a lot of confidence out of that, and just want to say thank you to the boys.
Yeah, they are an extremely tight-knit group, and that's what makes them such a great football team. Luai, to get through the last game with that shoulder injury the way that he did was incredible.
Yep.
What did you guys think of his performance?
Incredibly brave and you know, remarkable that 4 weeks after dislocating your shoulder, you're out there playing. I would say that I don't think he received as much traffic as he probably will this week against a Broncos side that's going to be way ahead of what the Storm turned on last week. I think Nelson's finished with, what was it, about 36 metres last week? You know, there was just he didn't have the pressure on him that the Broncos are going to put on him. But it was an incredible performance.
I agree wholeheartedly, because when we get to breaking down the Melbourne Storm a little later, we'll talk about how depleted their pack is. And that doesn't compare to what the Broncos can throw at Jerome Luai. And the job of Scott Sorensen on Luai's side to help protect Luai will be pivotal on Sunday night, because I'm with Crawls. I just don't think the Melbourne Storm did a good enough job at exposing a weakness in the Panthers lineup.
All right, with Nathan Cleary, the Penrith Panthers has been sublime. In career best form, arguably with Walsh and a few others, the best player in the comp right now. But you think that they can stop him, or how are they going to stop him if they are to win this, the Broncos?
Well, Cleary is playing in career best form. There's conversations going on is he as good as the greatest? Is he as good as Joey? Is he as good as Sterlo and that? But I'll tell you one thing he doesn't need. He doesn't need a leg up from the referees ignoring some of the tactics that are going on to give him protection. Like, you have a look at some of these incidents involving Isaiah Yeo during the game. And there's Moses Leota. When you're giving kick block protection, you're not allowed to move. They're moving completely out of the way. They're getting in the way. These are penalties that are just being ignored. Why are they being ignored? I'm surprised the Broncos haven't come out and spoken about it, because you'll remember 2 years ago when Bennett was coaching South in the grand final, and
I do remember this.
This became a bit of an issue in the lead-up, because Wayne had sought clarity from Jared Maxwell, the referee's boss, and then Ivan got wind about that, and he accused Wayne of trying to influence the referees, and turned into a little bit of a war of words. But it's a legitimate conversation that needs to be answered, because you're just not allowed to do it, and they're getting away with it.
So is that the rule? If Isaiah Yeo moves, it's a penalty.
Yes.
If he just stands his ground, holds his ground, it's not.
He's not standing his ground, though. In the ones where he's doing, he's clearly moving.
They move to the line.
And they're as clear as crystal. And
it's
they're
quite
getting
subtle,
away with
but
it.
it's subtle, but they are moving.
Yeah,
You're right. Like, it is very subtle, because they're the best at it, and they've done it forever. Like, you brought up that against South. I think Wayne brought it up to the referees, and then all of a sudden South beat them, I believe, off the back of no kick protection. But then back to the grand final, it was sort of back to where it was again.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's also a credit to Penrith for doing it so well. It's an art to actually get away with this.
That's so subtle.
They've got such attention to detail, the Panthers, and they do so much right. But the other point in this too is that, you know, the NRL's done a really good job cleaning up the fact that, you know, playmakers aren't being hit late like they used to.
Absolutely. Can you remember Jonathan Thurston? He was knocked to the ground 30 times a game.
Yes,
wasn't
and Cooper Cronk used to get his ribs knocked out by Luke Lewis and Wade Graham. And
Absolutely.
But what I'm trying to say is that they're getting enough protection. You don't have to give them more protection by ignoring moments that should be picked up by the referees.
Yeah.
If you can't get at him, he's impossible to stop.